The equation of Russia and Turkey has been a complex one to understand. They both stand on opposite sides in Syria, Libya, etc. They collaborate militarily and strategically, despite of Turkey being a NATO member. Explain this in context of the age-old rivalry of the Ottomans and the Russian Empire. Where does the US and India stand to gain, lose, with regards to this frenemy kind of relationship between the Turks and the Russians? So, like you said, the Turks and the Russians have uh, an old rivalry during the Ottoman Empire. These were two rivals: the Russian Empire versus the Ottoman Empire. There was a great competition. It was kind of part of the great game Russia and the UK were playing in Central Asia. So it kind of spilled over to some extent between Turkey and the between the Ottoman Empire and the Russian Empire. So if you look at the map, once again, if you will see Turkey, if you go north of Turkey, you reach you have to the east you have the Caucasus region, and in the north you have Ukraine and Crimea, etc. So it's all basically regions of Russian dominance and Russian territories. So Russia and Turkey and the Ottoman Empire have been antagonists for a great deal of time. In the 1920s, I believe, or 1910s, the Russians even invaded parts of Turkey and reached almost all the way to Istanbul, just a few miles from Istanbul, and they were stopped by the other Western forces, etc. So there's always been this fraught relationship, a relationship of that contests shared space. So as of today, like you said, Turkey is a NATO ally. It's an official NATO ally, and yet Turkey, the geopolitical ambitions of Turkey are basically oversized. They, under Erdogan, they aspire to revive, kind of, in a way, the Ottoman Empire. Turkey aspires to be a great power again. It wants to project power much beyond its borders. So it's trying to buy influence and acquire influence in various parts of the world, especially in its immediate neighborhood. Now, if you go to the west of Turkey, if you go to the west, you have Greece, Bulgaria, the Balkans, Romania, etc. So these are all Christian countries, or used to be Christian mostly until very recently. So Turkey can't hope to have much influence there. But if you go east of Turkey, you will find all basically the Islamic countries, the countries that were once under the Ottoman Empire. Even North Africa is all Islamic. So Turkey sees that as a great fertile ground for projecting power and expanding its influence. And that's Turkey's overall ambition, to revive its great imperial days. And that essentially clashes with NATO's ambition of US supremacy. NATO has one function only: to maintain and preserve and expand to some extent US supremacy and hegemony across the region of Europe. So Turkey's ambitions clash with that. They are at cross purposes. So that's why Turkey is increasingly being alienated from NATO. They are buying Russian missile systems, the S-400 system, which NATO disapproves of. That's why they have refused to sell the F-35 fighter jet to the Turks, and the Turks are fine with that. So Turkey and Russia now seem to be having some kind of rapprochement, some kind of they are growing closer together, even though they do clash at times. Turkey, in a couple of 2-3 years ago, shot down a Russian jet, killed a couple of Russian pilots, or at least one fighter pilot. And yet, wherever their interests align, they are cooperating, because Russia also seeks to maintain a sphere of influence which is beyond its borders. So Russia sees the Central Asian republics, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Azerbaijan, Georgia, etc. It sees this region as part of its natural sphere of influence. And Turkey also sees these Turkic Central Asian neighbors, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, etc., as part of its natural sphere of influence. So there is a conflict there, but there is a scope for cooperation for now, temporarily also. Even Azerbaijan. So that is the situation right now. This is a temporary convergence of interests. Turkey and Russia are likely to remain long-term rivals, but temporarily they are cooperating wherever they can, because Turkey is slowly drifting away from NATO and from the US, and the Russians, basically their biggest threat is the US, because the US is essentially surrounding Russia with various military bases and pointing missiles at Russia. So that's why, as of now, right now, their interests converge to some extent. So they are cooperating, and that is the nature of geopolitics. There are no permanent enemies, there are no permanent allies, there are only temporary alliances and temporary adversaries. So right now, like you said, Russia and Turkey are frenemies, but this is not a long term arrangement. This is a temporary, fleeting, transient arrangement, and we shall see how it goes. How does it affect the United States? Well, the United States is not happy with the way Turkey is drifting away from its orbit. And what does India stand to gain? Well, India doesn't really have any power projection ambitions or plans or any presence in this region. So India doesn't really stand to gain much or lose much. Of course, if Turkey gets more powerful, and because Pakistan and Turkey are natural allies, it will be problematic for India. So to that extent, it could be problematic for India as well, because India and Turkey traditionally have been on opposite sides of the table, never allies, never really culturally or any other way aligned in any manner. So basically, Turkey and India, you could say, have always been in a mild state of hostility or antagonism. Turkey has always supported Pakistan, especially of late. So to that extent, it is not good for India. But all India needs to do is start exerting its own strength and influence abroad to change things. So that's where things stand as of today, vis-a-vis the relationship of Russia and Turkey.